Watch. Lake monster spotted in Canada?
Home. Yeah. It's a message in your voice. Okay. That's all I needed to see that.
Canada's legendary lake monster Ogopogo might have a cousin, as a woman walking along the shore of a nearby body of water spotted a curious creature strikingly similar to descriptions of the country's famed cryptid. According to a local media report, the intriguing sighting occurred last Tuesday morning at Kalamalka Lake in the community of Coldstream, British Columbia. During a visit to the site, witness Alison Tink had its eerie sense of something unusual unfolding around her. I don't know what happened, she mused. I just sort of came into my realization that there was something out there. Looking out on the lake, Tink was taken aback at the sight of three distinct humps that had emerged from the water. I opened up my camera and started filming it, she recalled. It went for about 42 seconds and then it disappeared. Particularly puzzling about Tink's sighting is the location where it occurred, as Kalamalka Lake is situated fairly close to Okanagan Lake, where the monster Ogopogo is said to reside. So we're talking about something that has occurred close to Lake Okanagan in Kalamalka Lake. Now, my thing is, and I'm just curious. I don't believe Ogopogo has ever been spotted on land, unlike Loch Ness Monster, which has been spotted on land. So my question is, could perhaps Ogopogo also be a land-based creature that also goes up on land and perhaps could have traveled to this other lake? Or does this other lake also have a lake monster of its own? To quote Alice in Wonderland, curiouser and curiouser. Speaking of the Loch Ness Monster, apparently it literally can't look like you think, scientists say. Here's what you'll learn when you read this story. For centuries, the legendary Loch Ness Monster has often been imagined as a creature that swims with extreme vertical undulations. Nothing like the arched version of Nessie has ever been found to exist, and probably because those motions would slow her down. Most eyewitness accounts of Nessie sightings do not describe arches, so if she does exist, she probably looks like what these witnesses think they saw. If there ever was anything such as a poster cryptid, it would have to be Nessie. Sorry, Bigfoot. Loch Ness Monster of Scottish lore has often been depicted as a serpentine creature undulating vertically in the water. There is just one problem with these images. That kind of body cannot exist. Ancient texts going back to the 6th century AD describe sightings of a watery beast lurking in the depths of the loch. Since then, versions of Nessie slithering in vertical arches has been on every possible souvenir, from shirts to hats and hats to books, postcards, mugs, stuffed animals, and just about everything else imaginable. If this is the Nessie that lives rent-free in most people's minds, sightings of what was thought to be the monster should match. It turned out that most witnesses saw something completely different. Despite the stereotype, most sighting reports of what could be Nessie are missing those iconic vertical loops. Even the infamous 1934 hoax, which had the masses believing Nessie was some sort of leftover plesiosaur from the late Cretaceous, showed only a long neck and part of her back. Almost everyone who could have sworn they saw a monster has given an account of something explicitly unlike the arched images. A 1933 report imprinted in the Inverness Courier described her body as resembling that of a whale. Later studies continued to claim Nessie resembled a whale, complete with appendages that appeared to be fins. Others were unclear, but described something huge in the water. After investigating stacks of blurry photos and other evidence, ecologist Charles Paxson of St. Andrews University and Adrian Shine of the Loch Ness Center came to a conclusion about what Nessie must look like if she actually exists. So a few reports of a thing with arches versus the plethora of images with them can only mean that pop culture has not influenced ideas of what witnesses at least thought they saw. Now, my thing is, if indeed these witnesses were seeing something similar to a whale, then does that fit in with the theory that some Nessie researchers believe some Nessie researchers have the theory that Nessie is actually a prehistoric whale. It's just continuing on living in Loch Ness these days. I do know that Ken Gerhard believes it may be a zeuglodon, which is a species of prehistoric long-necked whale. So, if the eyewitness descriptions are describing it as a whale-like creature, then could that possibly be true? Could it be that it is mixed in with a whale, that it is a species of whale, a supposedly extinct whale? Well, that's an excellent question, and one that doesn't have an easy answer. And won't have an easy answer until we have a specimen, either captured or dead. Hopefully it won't take a dead one, but that seems to be the trajectory we're going towards, is the possibility of bringing in a dead Nessie. I'm not so sure that even the largest aquatic tank could hold Nessie, as large as they are believed to be. Or heck, any lake monster. So who knows? Loch Ness Monster Mystery.blogspot.com, or Loch Ness Mystery. A recent trip to Loch Ness, early on Friday the 30th of May, not 29th. It was a 3-hour drive from Edinburgh up to Loch Ness. After picking up a couple of cameras left at the loch over the summer, I made my way over to base camp. Since the first organized quest by the Loch Ness Center just over 2 years ago, a small band of like-minded people had been growing and meeting together to do a bit of monster hunting. The camp was a knot of 3 tents north of Invermoriston, occupied by 4 fellow Glaswegians, Chris, Paul, William, and Alistair, and local man Jared with his daughter. We were later joined by Dave from Birmingham and LNE, Loch Ness exploration leader Alan McKenna. Maddie and Aga would later join us, along with 2 Australian Nessie fans, Callum and Kyra. So a good little group to get some Nessie work done. Having ascertained respective Glasgow football team allegiances with Paul, Chris, and William, with the ensuing chat and banter, we went down to the shore for the encampment to check out the shoreline. Now, this beach differed somewhat from other shorelines I explored at the loch, as it had this older protrusion of rock jutting out from the usual shingle. This is where some qualified geologists will explain what kind of rock this is and its possible origins. I must do an introductory course on geology. Anyway, we resolved to come back during the night hours to do some thermal camera work. Before this, YouTuber Ellie Whitby had arrived with her filming assistant Anna. They were going to record some of our research and shenanigans over the weekend for a future video presentation. Now, I have to say that Alan has a thing about sending waves and has been looking to get some decent video footage of one making its way down the lock. Some eyewitnesses have been fooled by this phenomenon. The debate is over how much they have. While we awaited Alan's arrival at the camp, we saw one such wave forming and traveling. It required the presence of two RIB speedboats making their way down the lock in parallel at a good pace. You can see it to the center left and the frame catcher below. So this is something that this was. I'll get it out in a second. This was something that occurred way back in May of this year. This was an expedition. Probably not successful, but they really, at least they tried. They gave it a shot anyway. And that's about all you can hope for, is to give it a shot when you're at Loch Ness. And finally, as promised, since it is the spooky season, it's Halloween season, it's October, I promised there were going to be some spooky, creepy cryptid stories. Well, here goes one right now. Mysterious visitors. My entire childhood, my father and I used to take late night walks due to his insomnia from shift work. Our neighborhood is considered very safe and ultimately was an urban neighborhood. Besides, one of the roads towards the back, which was lined with a thick forest for about a mile and about a quarter deep, was circled back on itself. All these walks were very dear memories of mine except one, and it ended up being the last one. Along the road with the tree line, there was a single street light to illuminate a small plot of land that someone owned, but it was very overgrown and ill-kept. It was very common for us to walk this road to enjoy the sounds of the forest, the lack of illumination, and the ease of circling back. One ordinary night, as we were walking and making conversation, my father abruptly stops, pulls me close, puts a hand over my mouth, crouches with me, and points towards the single illuminated plot roughly 100 yards away. At first I didn't see anything and thought he was pulling my leg, but just as I began to protest his grasp, I see a very small humanoid figure, roughly 3 feet in height, scrawny and with long limbs, materialize out of the plot's brush line and cautiously taking its surroundings before signaling towards the brush. After a few seconds, 2 other small humanoid figures materialized as well. After a brief moment of what looked to be a discussion, all 3 make a dash for the forest tree line. Once this happened, my father picked me up, threw me over his shoulder, and made a break for our home, which was roughly a half-mile back. Mind you, my father is 6'5" and 220 pounds. I was roughly 120 pounds at this time, and he never showed signs of slowing due to his fear and adrenaline. After this night, we never took late-night walks. He installed 4 bright motion detection lights around our acre plot, and he brought home a dog. The few times I've tried bringing it up, he doesn't want to discuss it and made it clear he never wanted to. Those figures still give me chills, and the image of the 3 huddled together is very vivid 15 years later. Bit of a spooky story, isn't it? And there will be more this month, I promise you. I promise you. There will be more spooky stories this month because of it being Halloween. The Halloween season. And that's going to do it for this week. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are the heart of the show. I always say that, but I always mean it. I will continue as long as you guys want me to. And for almost 11 years now I've been doing this and enjoying every second of it. Hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. And until next week, y'all be good, be good. It's HBM's Cryptid-Corner.